All right. Welcome to The Climb. It's a show dedicated to helping singers and songwriters like you create leverage in the music industry. And that is, in fact, what the name stands for. It's an acronym that stands for Creating Leverage in the Music Industry. I want to introduce you to my awesomely talented co-host, Mr. Brent Baxter.
Hello.
Brent is an award-winning hit songwriter with cuts by Alan Jackson, Randy Travis, Lady Antebellum, Joe Nichols, and more. He also helps songwriters turn pro by teaching the art, craft, and business of songwriting. You can find Brent at Man vs. Row. That's manvsrow.com. And Brent, you've got a brand new. You're switching over on your brand name.
Yes. I'm doing a rebranding, mainly because some people thought Man vs. Row sounded like I was a bitter songwriter who hates on Music Row, and that's not the case. So because of that and some other reasons, I'm changing the name over to songwritingpro.com.
Okay, so either manvsrow.com or songwritingpro.com will get you to Brent. And welcome, buddy. It's good to see you again.
Thank you, man. Good to see you, Johnny. And I'll go ahead and tell the folks about you. I'd like to introduce you to my co-host, Johnny Dwinell. Johnny owns Daredevil Production. It's an innovative artist development company. Not only do they develop and improve your artistry, they also grow and monetize your fan base, creating cash flow. Daredevil's worked with multi-platinum artists like Colin Ray, Tracy Lawrence, Ty Herndon, and Andy Griggs, just to name a few. You can find Johnny at daredevilproduction.com. That's production, singular, no S. And that's the only place you can find it because he got it right the first time and he doesn't have to rebrand. So he's a little more on the ball. I'm making this stuff up as I go. Well,
hey, I'm excited because we are going to learn from the master here on how to, the name of this episode is 6 Simple Ways to Make Your Songs More Commercial. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I have to say that I'm really stoked about this podcast because, number one, like each episode that's come out, we've increasingly got more downloads on. So it's really starting to catch on. People are really digging it. So thank you, man. I'm having a good time.
I am too, and yes, and thank you guys for listening and for leaving ratings and reviews and getting us up and new and noteworthy, and that's been fun to watch. It's been fun to watch.
Yes, we've been consistently in the top 10 on new and noteworthy in 2 different categories, which is exciting.
Yep.
So yes,
because you guys are listening. Yes, it's only because you guys are listening. So thank you very much.
Please leave a rating and review. So that said, 6 simple ways to make your songs more commercial. I hand the conch to you, sir.
There we go. All right. Well, if your goals are like mine, which is getting cuts, getting hits, getting songs on the radio, getting songs on records, that sort of thing, your best bet is by writing a well-crafted commercial song. All right. So without further ado, we'll just dive into what the 6 simple, and simple doesn't always mean easy, but 6 simple ways to make your songs more commercial. All right, so number 1 is write up tempo. All right, so learn to write up tempo. If you don't believe how important this is, count the ballads on the radio. Count the ballads on a record. Listen to the radio for an hour and go, okay, how many ballads did I just hear? It's probably not going to be very many. Not very many on albums. Listen to a few of the current top albums. Count the ballads. Okay, knock, knock. Who is that? It's math. It's math calling. And math says they need a lot more up-tempo and mid-tempos than they do ballads. All right. So, okay, I'm not brilliant, but it's pretty simple math when you do 1 out of 10 or 2 out of 10 is a ballad, or 1 or 2 ballads out of an hour of radio. That math tells me there are not as many spots for those. So one of the best things I can do right off the bat is to start writing more up-tempo, mid-tempo songs, so faster songs. And it's also one of the fastest way, just as a side note, to get noticed at writers' nights. When you do writers' rounds, if you're out there at open mic nights, you're out trying to get noticed, man, usually especially the beginner level, it's like ballad city because everyone's trying to show you how sincere and how meaningful they are, which is cool. I started out writing a whole lot of ballads too. But then you notice throughout the night as they get more and more to the hit writers, the tempo tends to go up most of the time. Songs get more. It's like, wait a second. Wait. So
just when you pull the razors out and you're ready to cut your wrists, all of a sudden you're like, here's something that's a little closer to 100 BPM.
Exactly. So if you want to move from the early rounds to the later rounds, one of the best ways to get noticed and start getting bumped up is just to play some tempo because it would be a breath of fresh air. But especially when you're writing for radio records, that sort of thing, tempo, man, just do the math. That's what.
Yeah. So, out of all the people that are going to get in that pool of songs that might get cut for a record, if you get in that pool, all of a sudden, why would you want to write a ballad today? Because you're going to have a 10% chance, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Of after you get through that door, that really important door to begin with.
Yeah. At the end of the day, most of the time, people lock down their ballads pretty early because there are a lot of great ballads out there, a lot more than people need. So there's a surplus of really great ballads because people love writing ballads and they have strong ideas and that kind of stuff. And so at the end of the day, a lot of times it's looking for the hit single, and most of the time the hit single is an up tempo, and that's what they need. So that's number one, right? Up tempo, which is a reprogramming. Sometimes you have to reprogram yourself to not think ballad all the time, to think, well, I thought I was writing today, and the idea that I brought in, my natural bent is to write that as more of a ballad, or kind of, because it's, a little deeper, meaningful kind of thing. But my co-writer was, had a good groove going, more of a tempo thing. And I've been doing this long enough that I know it's like, okay, stick this more meaty idea. Let's put this in this fun, this good, loud, anthemic kind of thing and get the best of both worlds. And it worked out really well today. We'll see how it turns out. But
I think it's a really good cathartic exercise, too, on an artistic level, because it gives you a purpose, as opposed to what am I going to write today? It's like start out with we're going to write something at 120 BPM. And that's where we're going to start. And I think that if you force yourself to do that as a writer, it sort of would open up some more creative avenues rather than kind of slipping into a groove that you normally get into or something creatively,
Right. Give yourself, some people call it Tempo Tuesdays, that sort of thing. So it should probably be more than just Tuesday. But yeah, it's a good thing to go, okay, even if I think this is a ballad kind of idea, what if I get the best of both worlds, put it in a tempo, and wow, Heartache with a beat, that's country radio,
There you go.
Yep, so that's number one.
Number two.
Number two is write positive. All right, positive up tempo. So we're building here, right? Okay, so if you're like me, not only is your inclination to write kind of more balladish stuff because I'm a lyricist, so I'm like, oh, my deep ideas, right? I'm so sensitive. But it's also to write more sad, negative, thoughtful, deep, that kind of stuff that can be a little more, sad, for lack of a better term, I guess. So when I come up with a hook, my first inclination is sad. Okay, but I don't know if that's just because, for some reason, pain is a little more interesting than happiness. You have a deeper well to draw from. You have more interesting visuals, that sort of stuff. Whatever it is, radio likes happy, though. Knock, knock. Math again. All right? You think about it from, I call it the chain of demand. What does the crowd want at a show? They want to have a good time, right? Most artists, concerts they go to, why do they want to go? They want to have a party. They want to have a good time. Well, it's going to be hard to do with a stack of weeping ballads. Some artists make their career off that stuff. But you go to a show and people want to have a good time. The artist is trying to get the people on the feet. And that's easier to do when you're playing up-tempo and happy. Be a good host. Have a good time. You invite people over to your house and for a party, and then, over dinner, let me tell you the saddest stories I can tell you. How many people are going to come back to your next dinner party?
That's right.
Right.
I want to add something to this. This reminds me of a corollary here, but I was watching a Tony Robbins interview with Lewis Howes, and
I probably saw the same one.
Okay,
Yeah.
so and he was asking, he was talking about like his wife when he gets into arguments with his wife. He goes, how do you resolve these? And he says, well, I just come down to this one basic rule. He's like, do I want to be right or do I want to be in love? And the idea is that I want to be in love. So she always wins. So the reason I bring this up is a lot of people, I think, a lot of writers, especially that I talk to, turn their nose down at being commercial or something. And if you're an artist and you want to be different and you want to stand out and you don't want to be commercial, God bless. That's your prerogative. But if you're a writer whose goal is to get songs cut by other artists on the radio, then the question is, do you want to be right or do you want to be on the radio? Because you're going to need to follow these rules and think about this very seriously, because you're not appealing to yourself as an artist. You're appealing to radio, and you've got to appeal to the record labels, and you've got to appeal to the artists who are on the radio because they know how to play this game. They know the rules. They're very well aware of them. So if you want to get in that room, you've also got to be aware of them. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And Write Positive is like,
it's
boom.
And like I said, it's so many people's natural bent is they start writing because they got something they got to get out. And most of the time what they got to get out is not, I'm happy and in love and everything's great. Because usually when you're happy, you just go be happy. When you're sad, you sit down and you write a song. So it's kind of a head change that you have to kind of chart some new courses in your brain to make yourself start thinking that way. And it's not natural for a lot of writers. Not for me anyway. All right.
Right. Number three.
Number three, write from the me to you point of view. Okay, me speaking to you. So me, singer, I love you is a lot more impactful and emotional than he loves her or I love her to the listener, because it's direct address, right? So the artist wants to connect with the audience. And I, artist talking to you, listener, is a lot better way to kind of make that connection, because the listener's hearing the artist say you. So they're hearing the artist talk to them. So if it's a sexy love song, then, you know, the artist saying, I love you and you're beautiful and all that stuff. Hey, the girl's hearing Jason Aldean or Billy Currington or whoever, Keith Urban saying, I love you and you're sexy and you're beautiful and all that stuff. It's a better way to make a connection. And they can more easily see Keith Urban actually singing that to them, right? So
yep.
There are some times when you want to get away from this. If the singer is telling somebody off or, you know, where we put the listener in the bad spot, where they're the black hat, where they're the awful person, or they're, you know, getting broke up with, that kind of stuff. You may want to get away from that. Breaking up with your listener, right? Generally, since we're writing positive, why not be positive in the way you address your listeners? So that is something to think about. So yeah,
yep.
It's a positive
and
love song.
Remember,
if you can make it "I love you" is a lot better than "I love her." Because
there's always exceptions.
The girl's thinking, "Who's that her?" Right.
There's always exceptions to the rule, and you did a really good one of those with Woman Scorned. Like, I remember that we picked that song for Tanya Marie Harris because it was the angry ex-girlfriend song, but it was from a third party.
Exactly.
So it was different than everything that was on the radio, and that sort of made sense too. So, you know, you got to know the rules and then to know how to break them right.
Right.
But
kind of these
neurolinguistically, you're going to connect with somebody though with a direct address.
Right. So you do want to be careful with what you're saying to them. So yeah, the way I look at these 6 things are my default setting, and there has to be a reason not to do one of these things. So my default setting is, okay, let's do tempo. Why? And if I don't do tempo, it's because it's got to be a ballad. You know, I'm going to write positive unless there's a compelling reason not to write positive. I'm going to write me to you unless there's a compelling reason, like Woman Scorned, where I didn't want the singer yelling at the listener, telling him he's a bad person. And I didn't want the singer doing some of the stuff that the protagonist, the woman scorned, does in the song. So there was a compelling reason to make it third person, because you can, like, look at these crazy people over here. Aren't we both, you know,
it's like watching reality TV.
Exactly. It's the singer and the listener both enjoying this, you know, episode of Cheaters, right? So,
oh my God.
But yeah, the default setting is me to you, positive, up tempo. Yeah. So,
good deal. Number 4.
Write about love, y'all. It's the big universal deep need. It's our greatest joy and our sharpest pain, man. And nothing's more universal than love, the need to be loved, heartache, all that stuff. I mean, it's simple. Like I said, these are simple things. This is not rocket surgery, all right? So write about love. A lot of times, I know, especially as a lyricist, you know, it's fun to stretch yourself, find things that are really interesting, really different. And in general, that's good. But at the same time, how commercial is a song that's super specific about a shovel or, you know, a ladder or, you know, whatever. If you write it right, yeah. But in general,
if the ladder loves the shovel and it's a clever twist,
there we go. And now we're going somewhere. One goes down near the ground, one goes up, and they're just heading in opposite directions. It didn't work out. We're just going different places. Anyway, the ladder will rise above. Even though the shovel had some dirt on it. Sorry. Anyway, caffeine. So yeah, write about love. It's the big topic, right? So if you're writing up tempo, positive, me to you, love, okay. And the challenge is writing these in a way that's still unique and not like everything else, you know. But in general, this is where we're going. So yeah, that was pretty simple. Probably not a whole lot to say about it. Write about love, y'all. And if you can,
Number 5.
yes, write in the moment. Okay, so the present tense, right now. Okay, there's more power in the present than there is in the past or the future. So you're killing me in that sundress as a lyric usually beats you were killing me in that sundress, or you will be killing me in that sundress. There's
more action there. Yeah.
There's just more action. There's more energy in the moment right now. Oh, you're killing me right now, girl, versus you were killing me yesterday in that sundress. It's just like, it's right now. It's immediate. And, this changes over time. But right now, this is much more where commercial radio is, and commercial albums and that sort of thing. It's like back in the 90s, there were a lot more three-act plays where the first verse would be in the past, the second verse would be in the past, and maybe in the bridge might still be in the past. It's all like biography. Here's something that happened, a story that happened. Man, right now, and for the past couple of years, pretty much everything is right now. It's in the moment. It's me to you. This is what's going on. We're on the back road, tailgate, bonfire right now. Not thinking about what we're going to do this weekend. We're not thinking about what happened last weekend. We're at the party right now. Yep. And it's interesting how writing has changed to bring some of that stuff up. And there are a couple of examples over the past couple of years from the country world that I think are great examples of how the presentation of an idea has changed. So where the idea, is malleable, the different ways you can tell it. So one thing I think about is The House That Built Me. Okay, phenomenal song. But it was written more modern in its presentation. So like, say, back in the 90s, it would have been like the first verse was, I was a little girl, and I put my handprints in the front steps, and the dog died in the area, and, and that's the house that built me. This is where I grew up. And second verse would be, I got caught sneaking out or staying out too late, and I got grounded, and so I had to spend the next 3 weeks in my bedroom, but that's where I picked up the guitar. And this is the house that built me. And then you're coming home because dad's dying or something, because it's not somebody died or had a baby. And that would have been a perfectly acceptable way to write it craft-wise. But commercially, that's not how people are communicating as much these days. So if you look at that lyric, it's all right now. It's right now in the moment. Me, Miranda Lambert, the singer, is at the front door right now saying, "Sir, I know you don't know me from Adam." So it's a real-time conversation, and it's her half of this conversation that's happening right now. So there's an immediacy. And, yeah, she's pointing out stuff that happened in the past, like, those handprints, and my dog's buried over there, and up there in that bedroom is where I did my homework and learned to play guitar. So you get these snippets of the past, but it's not this linear in the past.
It's not rolling like a movie. It's rolling like an anecdote.
Yeah, it's a different way of giving a lot of the same information you would have, but it's given in a present tense. I think another good example is Jason Aldean's Tattoos on This Town. Okay, so we're saying similar kind of thing. They don't go with a three-act play where, here's me as a kid, or me, burning rubber when I got my first car at 16, and then the next verse is climb the water tower to write I Love Susie and John Deere Green or whatever. No, it's right now, hey, here's this thing I left, and here's this other thing I left, and here's this other thing, but I'm talking to you right now in the moment. So that's just, I had somebody challenge me to look at how people are communicating, and I went back and I looked at what people are, how they're talking now, and it's like, wow, it's much more in the moment. So those ideas are malleable. So you're like, okay, how do I choose to present them? Because you make choices as a writer. So a lot of these can be written different ways. But thinking about it, making a decision, a conscious decision to go, okay, how can I frame this where it's in the moment, where it's going to be more how people want to talk and how people want to hear it, is going to make a big difference. In, it's the same core idea. It's how we choose to present it.
Gotcha.
In the moment.
Like that. I like that. In the moment. And number 6.
All right. Number 6 is write with imagery. So don't tell me how you feel. Show me how you feel. Don't tell me you're in love. Show me what that looks like. After all, there are only so many emotions, right? Happy, sad, guy gets a girl, guy loses a girl, guy gets a girl back, all this. But there are really limitless ways to put those emotions into pictures. So if we only speak in emotional terms, I'm happy, I'm sad, you broke my heart, pretty soon all of our lyrics are going to sound the same. How do you really differentiate, right? But if you show what that looks like, there's so many ways to paint that picture of what it looks like. I'm walking on sunshine. That's a way of showing don't it feel good? It's a great image and it sticks with you. Or, there's just a bazillion, examples of great ways to show an emotion. And I think I call it willpower, WILL, which stands for what's it look like? Power. Willpower brings power to your lyric. All right. So when you're thinking, okay, here's this emotion or this situation I want to convey, do I want to tell about it or do I want to show it? And when you use a lot of imagery, you show the listener. It's kind of the difference between telling somebody about a great movie that you saw, playing the movie for them. One's a secondhand experience. Yeah. Oh my gosh, my girlfriend finally got me to watch The Notebook, and there was this guy, and he rowed a boat, and there's this girl, and there's this thing, and then they got old, and there was this notebook, and spoiler alert, blah, 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 and I cried. Okay, I could follow you. I get that. But I'm probably not going to cry from you telling me about the movie, right? But here, let me press play. Now you watch. Yeah, that's going to be much real.
They call that furniture on the road, folks. Like, how much furniture are you putting in? Because if you think about it in terms of furniture, what does a couch do? It's a place to put your butt. You can lie down and watch football. You can sit down. You can entertain people. It has exactly the same function, but there's vastly different kinds of couches, and they look vastly different in different types of living rooms. And so what kind of scene are you setting? Is it a Southwest scene? Is it a Art Nouveau scene? Is it Art Deco? Is it, how does it look, man? Yeah. And that is what really is what all good writing is about. Any novel or anything like that is creating that movie in your head, and you're the one that's attaching the image to it. So it's very, very clear, what's going on. Instead of saying I was really mad because he cheated on me, it's a lot more colorful. I dug my keys into the side of his pretty little souped up 4-wheel drive, right, carved my name into his leather seats. And you're just, as a guy, you're like, oh God. Oh.
Yeah. And also in that lyric, you don't say I'm angry.
Yeah.
You show it. You don't have to tell me you're angry. I supply that. You say I dug my key into the side of his pretty little souped-up 4-wheel drive, and the listener goes, "She is so mad," and it's more interactive. I'm watching it, and I'm giving some commentary, going, "She is so ticked off right now. He is in so much trouble." And if you don't believe me, this picture's worth 1,000 words. Pictures have a way of kind of filtering through the head and getting to the heart in a way that just intellectual information. I'm angry that you cheated on me. I'm going to get you back. Okay, I can understand that intellectually, but I don't really care as much, right? So a great example of this are like pet adoption commercials. All right? Like Sarah McLachlan singing, Arms of the Angel or whatever. Okay, it could just have Sarah McLachlan standing there going, so many thousands of dogs are abused and in need of rescue every year, and they're really sad, and you would just, they're adorable. And I'd be like, okay, I understand that. But they don't do that. They show me the picture of those sad-looking puppies that have been abused and those dogs that look just adorable and lonely. And then I want to go rescue one. I want to go bring one home right now. That's the difference between dry information and painting that picture. It's so much more real.
I want to add something else to this, too. Like, first of all, we're wired up that way.
Yes.
Before there was written words, we were drawing pictures on the cave.
Right.
So we're wired up visually. And this is a trick a lot of people don't know about. But for those memory experts, those guys that are like, give them a list of 25 things, 25 random things, and they'll repeat it back to you in order. Do you know how they do that? They create images in their brain. Each item that they have to remember, they put a picture of it, and they create this little movie inside their head as they're getting those images. Gosh, what was it? There was, I wish I could remember the whole breakdown, but this guy just starts off the imagery exercise by saying, I want you to remember this story. And you don't know where he's going with it, but it's weird. It's like a flying horse lands on a pig in a marble-colored living room and you're like, what? This guy's like on an acid trip or something like that. Like, this doesn't make any sense. But when he starts breaking down what he had to remember, you're like, oh, that's it. Because he can't visualize the word and memorize it as well as the image. So what's my point? My point is, when you do this imagery, it makes your song more memorable.
There you go.
Which is what we're trying to do, right?
It connects with the heart. It makes it more memorable. Yes.
So there we are. Well, that's, man. So just to recap, we got number 1, write up tempo. These are 6 ways to make your songs more commercial. Number 2, write positive. Radio likes positive these days, not negative. Number 3, write from the me to you point of view. Keep it in the first person. And a direct address is going to be more impactful than always a third party. There's a time and a place for that, but it's neurolinguistically, it's just more, oh, you're talking to me?
Yeah, exactly. You have my attention. You're talking to me. Someone's talking to me. Yeah.
Number 4, write about love. It is the universal language. There's a reason that their love songs have been written for hundreds of years, and that's why, because it works.
Exactly.
Okay. No, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I know.
Number 5, write in the moment. And that is very much not stories, not from the, like, you can think about the past as long as you're in the moment thinking about the past, kind of a thing. And then finally, write with imagery. Don't tell me that you love me. Show me that you love me. Don't tell me that you're angry. Show me that you're angry. What willpower?
All right. What's it look like? What's it look like? Any emotion situation, ask yourself, what's it look like?
Now, you've got, to wrap this up here, normally you're giving away a book, but this time you got something different going on. There is an NSAI Song Camp. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I've been honored with the opportunity to be the featured teacher at this year's NSAI. That's Nashville Songwriters Association International. Their Song Camp coming up in July, from July 15th through 17th, so I'll be teaching every day. I'm not sure the topics yet because they ain't asked me what they want me to talk about yet. But I'll be speaking for about an hour and a half each day with all the campers, in the big session. And just buckle up, because whatever they want me to talk about, I'm going to dive right in, and we're having a lot of fun. I've been blessed to talk at a couple of these, and nice enough to ask me back. So yeah, so if you're interested in coming to Nashville in July, you go to NashvilleSongwriters.com. And it have all the registration information and let you know about who else is going to be. I won't be the only speaker, only songwriter there. There'll be several others that'll be teaching and doing sessions and everything. So it's a great chance to meet a lot of other songwriters who are serious about their stuff, and come hang out with me, because I'll be lonely if you don't.
I mean, for all the songwriters that are out there that are like, how do I break in? How do I make this happen? You hear Brent and I go on and on about it. It's relationship oriented. Here's your chance to get in a room with a bunch of hit songwriters and get to know some people and show off your skill set. When I talk with my writers, with my artists, I've had more than a couple of artists who are very self-contained. They didn't work with co-writes, and one of the things I used to always tell them is just, what would it be like to sit down with somebody for 3-4 hours and who does it all day long for a living? You're a smart guy. What could you pick up from that? They're like, oh yeah. And so you're going to make relationships. And listen, good songs are good songs. If you come in and blow people out of the water, then you're going to develop some relationships and maybe be able to foster some co-writes. If your songs don't blow them out of the water, you've got a lot to learn, and it's going to benefit you there too. So that's a really good opportunity to do a little business, make some friends, and get in the room. And all you got to do is get your butt to Nashville.
There you go. So yeah, NashvilleSongwriters.com. It's Song Camp, July 15th through 17th. So that's it for my little commercial. But I did want to give them a shout out for inviting me. But Johnny, you have something you're giving away, and people don't have to drive to Nashville.
That's right. You can get it right on your computer.
Get it right now.
I have a best-selling Twitter book. It's Twitter 101, Music Marketing on Twitter. And it demystifies Twitter. It's a tour through the app so you can understand exactly what each button does and how Twitter works. We show you the tools that we use to optimize our time, because it is precious. And we'll show you how to get 1,000 targeted, loyal fans every single month, and just spending 15 minutes a day working on it. And you can get that at giftfromjohnny, JOHNNY.com, giftfromjohnny.com. And that about wraps it up, guys. So please listen, we work real hard sharing this information for you. You matter to us. We just ask you to reciprocate a little bit and spend a couple seconds going down there and leave a rating and a review
on iTunes.
It would mean the world for us. And it also improves our ranking in New and Noteworthy, which allows more singers and songwriters and artists to to benefit from this information, which is what we want. So we've got a reputation, as we like to say. Help us spread it around.
Exactly. The other writers that hear this and get better because of it might be your future co-writers. So you may just be helping yourself out.
All right. Well, thanks again, guys, for another episode of The Climb, and we will see you at the top.
So y'all keep on climbing.